Are we talking about the FTX hack?
Yes, I've done a lot of research on it, and I know who did it and how they did it, etc.
Ooh. Okay,
Really?
so the hack we're discussing today is from early on in FTX's bankruptcy when some hackers stole $432 million. And Louis has discovered who hacked FTX. Is this already public? It is public, isn't it?
The guy's in custody. He's lost the assets. He's on trial. But the story is fucking crazy. Like,
So,
wild. First, you need to understand what SIM swapping is. So basically, if you have like text to FA, someone could print a fake ID with your name on it and go to Verizon and say, hey, I'm Tiffany Fong. I lost my phone. Here's a new phone. Put the SIM onto this one.
yeah, and then when you're trying to log into something, it can text that number. They'll receive the verification message.
Correct.
Okay.
And the way, like, they do it slightly more elaborately, where basically they like find out a lot of your personal information, like where you live, what your social security number is, so they can answer a lot of the questions, like security questions, and they have the ID. But like the best way to do it is to print a fake ID, go into the store and be like, yo, I'm gonna, swap the SIM. And then from there, they can try and reset the password. They can do a bunch of stuff to log in. If they have your password because you use the same password for many different websites, and there's like a data leak or whatever, then it's very easy to log into your Coinbase or whatever. Once we understand the basics of SIM swapping, to be a victim of SIM swapping, and this is like pretty good advice for anybody, I think what's really important for people is to have different passwords for different services, just to make this really hard. And the harder you make it for them, the less likely you are to be a victim of this. Once I describe what happened to FTX, people are gonna be like, whoa, what the fuck?
This video would be great for one of my other sponsors, Aura.com/Tiffany. Aura.com/Tiffany.
Okay. The guy that we're looking at who committed this fraud is called El Swapo One.
El Swapo One. Ooh, spicy.
AKA Robert Powell.
Okay.
He's 23. He lives in a multi-million-dollar house in Illinois, and he has a bunch of luxury cars.
From hacking other people, or was he just born into money?
No, it's all from hacking, right?
Wow.
So this guy, Robert Powell, how do we know it's him? So I've read the indictment, and this guy is a crazy criminal. But it is fucking wild what this guy is up to. You have a thing for crazy criminals.
I know. I need to collect them all.
I don't know what he looks like, so I don't know if he's a fat, curly-haired guy. I know that's how you like him, Tiffany.
I know. He can't be too handsome.
Anyway, so the way we first encounter this guy is in a gang-sponsored violent robbery.
Oh.
So there's this gang called the Choppa Boys. And like I read the indictment on the Choppa Boys guys, and they were doing like home invasions. They were arrested with AK-47s. Like these guys are like super violent criminals. And they robbed a couple who had $250K in cash.
Wow.
And so the police are like, hey, where'd you get that money? And the couple's like, oh, we were doing construction jobs. Like, it's like very suspicious.
Very sus.
Megally sus. The cops are like pretty suspicious of these guys and like end up interrogating them pretty seriously. And what's funny to me is that people don't call Saul. Better call Saul, dude. Don't talk to the police. Not that I'm not glad they didn't catch these criminals. I'm just saying, better call Saul. They eventually say, okay, we work for this guy called Robert Powell who does PayPal frauds. There was like a thing between PayPal and Walmart where they hadn't like connected properly. And so he was like rinse and repeat getting gift cards.
You're saying the gang members who robbed the couple worked for them, or you're saying the couple?
The couple worked for this Robert Powell guy.
Oh.
And he would like buy on the dark web a bunch of PayPal accounts and then transfer out all the money out of those PayPal accounts into the couple's PayPal account. And the couple would get the money out, take a cut, and give it the rest to Robert Powell. The total they took to Robert Powell was over $1.3 million.
Wow.
Then when they finally arrest the Chopper Boys, it turns out that Robert Powell had hired the Chopper Boys to rob these guys of their $250K, and so the FBI is like, all right, this is getting pretty interesting.
Ooh, this is like a movie plot.
Yes, this is getting interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So
Hey, it's me, Tiff, and in case you've never heard of me before, I've been independently covering fraud and bankruptcies in the crypto space. Because of this, I know a lot of people who follow me or might recognize me were once customers of FTX. Well, that's where FTX Creditor comes in. FTX Creditor will buy your FTX bankruptcy claim and pay you immediately in USDC. FTX Creditor has actually bought more FTX claims than all of the other claims buyers combined. FTX Creditor even buys small claims as low as $1,800, all the way up to claims as large as $10 million. So if you're interested in selling your FTX claim for immediate liquidity or in selling your Voyager, BlockFi, or Celsius stub, you can go to ftxcreditor.com or contact them on Telegram at @FTXCreditor or on X at @FTXCreditor_com.
they try and learn more about this Robert Powell guy. Turns out he doesn't have any stated income. He lives in this multi-million-dollar house. He's doing all this stuff. And a postal worker complains about hey, I'm delivering these fat envelopes to this guy every week, and one of the envelopes was torn and there was $6,000 in cash sticking out of it. What do I do? Anyway, so the FBI raids Robert Powell's house. They only find a handgun and a bit of money, and they just charge him with a misdemeanor unregistered firearm charge. And then he just goes about his business, right? And in the indictment, it's pretty funny. He's saying to the couple that had gotten caught, if you rat me out, I'll fucking find you. 5 years is nothing, and all this crazy stuff. And he's saying to them, I'm never gonna stop. Even if I have enough money from all this, I'm never stopping. This guy is living in a movie. Now enter an unnamed FTX employee. El Swapo is getting into SIM swapping. And he is basically buying data dumps and getting a lot of people's info. And as part of one of these data leaks, he's clearly good with data. He gets an unnamed FTX employee. I have done a lot of work on FTX. I think with 80% confidence that I know who it is. So I'm going to say her name, but if it's not her, she can reach out to me and say, yo, this wasn't me.
Okay.
She's called Jen Chan. She's from Hong Kong, and she was a high up at FTX, effectively in charge of finances. She didn't have a CFO role per se, but high access point within FTX, and they get all her information.
Wow.
What they find out is that she has an AT&T account. And so El Swapo has a few co-conspirators, including a woman. We don't really know much about her. She's probably young. She's called Emily Hernandez. And Emily Hernandez flies down to Texas. I'm not quite sure I understand why they do this in Texas and not Illinois. They think this is getting them further away from the crime. Maybe Jen Chan initially opened her cell phone account in Texas. Something is going on there that I haven't fully figured out, but it doesn't really matter. She has a fake ID. She's called Emily Hernandez, and she gets a Jen Chan fake ID, which shows you how weak the security around this is. Because Emily Hernandez does not sound like a girl who grew up in Hong Kong.
No, it's just I thought you were gonna say she was an Asian woman, but I guess
no. She goes and does the SIM swap at the AT&T store with her ID, and it takes 10 minutes. Then we don't know how exactly the back end of FTX worked. None of this is in the indictment, but El Swapo logs into the back end of FTX and basically is holy shit, there's $1 billion here, and starts removing $10 million chunks. And just sending it, to his wallets.
Jackpot.
Jackpot. What's funny is that he slows down because they're doing another SIM swap on another FTX employee, and they get $1 million out of his FTX US account. We don't know who that is. I haven't been able to figure it out. Anyway, so he's taking all this money out, right? And this guy called Zach Dexter, who's from LedgerX, a company that Sam had acquired, for some weird reason, is just gets home, gets onto his laptop, and looks at the FTX wallets and sees them being gradually drained. And what he does is that he sends an all hands emergency email to all the top FTX people, and none of them answer because they're filing for Chapter 11 at that time. So they're fucking busy. They aren't aware of this. Panic. They've already filed for bankruptcy at this point. What does Zach Dexter do? He calls BitGo. Like, hey, can we open immediately a wallet at BitGo to figure this shit out? I need help emergency. BitGo needs half an hour to figure this out. In the meantime, there's a guardian angel from Alvarez and Marshall that is one of the advisors to the FTX restructuring who says, fuck it, I have a Ledger Nano right here.
Let's move all the funds.
Let's move all the money from this onto my Ledger Nano.
Wow.
So at 11 p.m., they do that. And Kumanon immediately calls the police and he's like, yo, there's this robbery going down. This is stressing me out. I've just put $500 million onto this fucking ledger. I need the police to come protect my house. So Kumanon, who charges the estate $950 an hour, that is the best value for money in the entire FTX saga, saved creditors $500 million that evening, transfers everything onto his ledger.
Hell yeah.
Pretty reasonable for him to be freaking out and calling the cops to be like, hey, please come protect me, because this is all pretty fucking scary.
But just to clarify, just from SIM swapping Jen Chen or whatever her name is, her personal phone number and whatnot, they were able to access like the lion's share of FTX customer funds. Like she herself.
FTX US, yes.
Wow. So she just personally had access to all customer funds.
Yes. There was like very few guardrails for her to be able to not just do that.
Is that normal? That seems like poor security. Okay.
Absolutely not.
That's pretty bad.
So thanks, Kumanon. You know, if you're going to watch this video, you saved a lot of people a lot of money. So what happened once Kumanon takes the 500 million out, El Swapo Uno, I guess that's how he wants it. It's El Swapo with a 1. No longer can withdraw any money because there's none left. What does he do? He goes on a money laundering binge. He's swapping these stable coins into ETH and other cryptocurrencies, mostly ETH and BTC. There's loads of slippage. He's going through all of these washers. Ironically, victims will get more money than he took out because ETH, even though it's ETH, has gone up since petition day, and he mostly stole stables.
Okay.
So somewhat, but he lost $91 million laundering funds.
What was he doing to launder funds?
He was going on Thor Swap. He was doing all like mixers. Do you know how that works?
Like Tornado Cash.
Yes. He's using all of these things to try and launder the money as much as possible. The best part of the story is yet to come. The best part is that, true to his word, Powell, El Swapo 1, kept doing SIM swaps after that.
Wow.
Going after it.
Jesus.
And for like smaller amounts of like 15K here, 15K there. It's kind of like surprising to me that after stealing $400 million, like you're not done. You're not bailing out of the country or whatever. You just keep being an idiot.
It's like an addiction. Wild.
It seems like it. Also like a feeling of complete impunity. More on that later because the story does keep going in a like kind of dark direction. How did this guy get caught? They reviewed the CCTV cameras in the shop and they found Emily Hernandez. Instead of moving to some Latin American country or Mexico or whatever, Emily was still in Ohio, and she's pled guilty in the indictment. And, you know, from our FTX experience, what does it mean when you're pleading guilty is that you're spilling beans to the cops. So right now, El Swapo is under house arrest on bail, basically. He can use the internet. He's, you know, I know. But they have gotten the
DM
money.
us. Oh, they've gotten all the money.
Totally. El Swapo, DM
El
us.
Swapo, DM us. Slide in.
Let's go. We'd love to hear your side of the story,
Yeah.
man. Go nuts.
Mm-hmm. The audacity.
The audacity. Anyway, Emily Hernandez pleads guilty.
Okay.
El Swapo is in big trouble,
Mm-hmm.
and the money is now with the DOJ and still with the DOJ, although it should be given back to the bankruptcy estate.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a class action lawsuit. I think Sunil is still involved in that one, trying to block the release of the funds to the bankruptcy estate and instead distribute it themselves to victims of the FTX fraud.
Does that seem practical?
Well, they don't want any other stakeholders to get the money. And in the bankruptcy, there's like, a lot of other stakeholders, not just customers.
Right.
However, that sounds good as a customer. However, what they're not mentioning is that the contingency lawyers who are leading the class action would take 20% of the proceeds, which is kind of counterproductive.
Yeah. Yeah.
In any case, it's slowing everything down. We'll get to it when we get to it. Yeah, that's it.
But the recovery of the money should lead to customers getting, I don't know, have you done the math on this? Like what percentage back you'd expect of claim value?
All in or just from this?
I guess from just from this recovery of the hack.
Well, it's probably 5 or 6%.
That's pretty substantial.
Yeah, it's a lot of money. No, it is good.
Mm-hmm.
It's such a massive bankruptcy estate that like $500 million is only 5%.
Mm-hmm. But you said this took a dark turn.
I think the dark turn for me is that this guy is like under house arrest and kind of chilling.
I know. And if he's able to still use the internet, I'm like, he's probably still scheming. He doesn't sound like someone who's like, oh, you caught me, I'm done. He sounds like someone who he's probably launching the meme coins. Maybe El Swapo is the one who got into SBF's account. Did you see the other day that SBF's account was tweeting? And then someone made his fake SBF Doge account that was government verified.
Wow.
Maybe it's El Swapo.
It's possible. I mean, that would be amazing if you're a Verizon employee and you're like, yes, I will. You're saying that you're Sam Bankman-Fried in the shop with the fucking fake ID. Like, that guy is stupid. It's like, I'm Brad Pitt. Like, how did you pick a guy that's more famous?
That'd be so funny. Well, yeah, that is scary to me that he's just on house arrest with continued access to the internet. He should be in MDC Brooklyn with Samuel, and we could keep an eye.
Maybe they would make friends.
Yes. That is a crazy story, though. That sounds like it should be a movie.
Story.
Yeah. Good work reading all the indictments.
It was fun. I have to run to go to this dinner thing, but I, could not wait to tell you this story.
I love this story. It was very spicy. We love the mustache as well. Where are you? Are you in SF?
I'm in SF right now, yeah.
Okay. Love you, Lou. Have fun at dinner. Bye. Separately, I have eczema. And if anyone has any tips on curing eczema while Louis is on his phone call, let me know, because I've had eczema for years and years and years. I think it started in high school or college. And I would like someone to give me advice on curing this. Thank you.